Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Al Dente with L. This week, we're looking at... wrong show. We've all come to know and love our good old store-bought pasta. It's cheap, it's convenient, and most importantly, it's missing from all the shelves in the supermarket. You now know how to make a few sauces, but what good is that if you don't have anything to sauce? So instead of following the crowds, today we'll be making fresh pasta. If you're wondering if homemade pasta is worth the effort, then you guys probably haven't been well acquainted yet. Fresh pasta is a lot coarser by nature, which allows the sauce to adhere to it better. It also has better texture and better flavor due to the addition of eggs. On top of that, it only takes about 2 to 3 minutes to cook even when frozen, which is a fraction of the time it takes store-bought pasta to cook. And lastly, it is a lifesaver, especially when you're pressed for time and trying to have a quick meal, or when you're dealing with those late night munchies. So without further ado, let's dive right in. All you need are eggs, all-purpose flour, and semolina flour. As a rule of thumb, people say you should use 1 egg per 100 grams of flour. The problem with that is that not all thumbs are the same size, much like how not all eggs are the same weight. For this recipe, we'll be aiming for about 65% to 70% hydration. In simple terms, that means a ratio of about 65 to 75% liquid to flour. As for the flour, we'll be using a 3:1 ratio of all-purpose flour to semolina flour. Luckily for people who are adamant on sticking to volumetric measurements, fresh pasta is quite forgiving, so you'll just have to eyeball it. We'll cover that in a bit. Start by cracking and weighing your eggs. Take that weight and calculate how much flour you need. The extremely basic math will be on screen right about now. If you're confident that your flour is lump-free, most usually are, then just pour everything straight into a mixing bowl. If not, then sieve it first. 9 times out of 10, there really isn't much of a difference. Give the dry ingredients a mix using your mixing apparatus of choice, and now you have a decision to make. How exactly are you going to combine the eggs with the flour? The most common and possibly the most annoying method is to pour the flour onto a heavy surface. I don't recommend using the floor. Making a well in the center and pouring your eggs in. Using a fork, slowly mix the eggs in with the surrounding walls of flour until you can handle it by hand. And then begin kneading it until you reach the desired consistency. This takes about 5 minutes. What we're aiming for is a smooth, springy dough with the overall consistency of Play-Doh. A little tacky but not too sticky. While this method looks great for videos and pictures, is the most traditional, and may make you feel a bit more chefy, most beginners will have this happen to them. The ensuing cleanup and attempts to stop the leakage will be a pain, and any addition of extra flour is going to be an even bigger pain. On top of that, this is the slowest of the methods, so I do not recommend it. The second method is by far the quickest and best suited for those eyeballing it. Place your ingredients into a food processor and blitz it. You want the ensuing product to have the texture of coarse sand. Once you get there, pour everything out, smush everything together and knead it into a ball. The downside to this is that you'll need to clean up a food processor or a blender, which can be a hassle depending on the brand you're using. Now there are no clips for this because I personally do not use this method and I didn't really want to clean up a food processor. Now the final method is more or less the same as the first method, except you do everything in a bowl. Because, well, logic. Here, I'm using a dough scraper because it keeps my hands clean and it makes working with the dough a lot easier. Mix the ingredients until they are sort of combined. Toss it onto a work surface and knead it into a smooth ball. It takes about 5 minutes once again. Once you're done kneading your dough, wrap it in cling wrap and let it rest in the fridge for about 15 to 20 minutes.
A few moments later.
Once your dough is well rested and relaxed, take it out the fridge and you can begin rolling your pasta. Here, there are 2 modes, easy and hard. And since many of you like things hard, we'll begin with that. Start by flattening out the dough on a lightly floured surface. You can use your hands or a rolling pin. For those without a rolling pin, a long cylindrical hard object with good girth will work fine, such as a wine bottle. Now fold your dough over itself and roll it out. This is the lamination process and you want to do this a few times in order to get a nice smooth dough. Once you're done with that, you can basically just roll out your dough. Now what you want to aim to achieve is a sheet of pasta that's almost translucent. Think of it as the transparency of about 1 or 2 pieces of tracing paper. Once you're done rolling out your pasta, fold it over itself just like this and cut it into your desired noodle shape. Be sure to use a sharp knife, if not, you'll end up squishing the layers of dough together, and that's not what you want. And you're pretty much done. Now on to method number 2, which is using a pasta machine. Once again, start by laminating your dough a few times. Do this on the highest setting of your machine. Once that's done, reduce the thickness one notch at a time, making sure to liberally flour your dough as you go. This method will take considerably less time and effort than the previous method. Once you've reached your thinnest setting, all you need to do is to grab the pasta cutting attachment or use a knife to cut your pasta. That's about it really. You can cook your pasta and eat it right now, or twirl your noodles into little bundles and freeze them for a later date. And that's all for today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something new, smash the like button, subscribe and share it because sharing is caring. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.